Only 13% of U.S. adults asked are satisfied with where the country is headed. That is down 7 points in a month and 32 points since reaching a 15-year high back in February, according to Gallup. The mood has not been this sour since November of 2011. Dagan, no surprise, we're in a darn pandemic and a shutdown.
Right. You've had more than 1/3 of the workforce at some point, more than 54 million jobless claims filed during this pandemic shutdown. People are concerned about their children not being around other children, not being in school. They're concerned about their jobs, their businesses going under. That is still happening to this day. They're concerned about their elderly relatives in nursing homes. Are their lives at risk? You can't even visit. Say you can't go into a hospital. I think that, but our spirit will come back, and we are a strong nation. And I have hope for everybody, and I just hope there are better days ahead, and soon.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, Mattie, after 9/11, people were so upset with the stench in New York and just so hurt and in mourning, having lost so many of our loved ones. I remember thinking, I don't even want to be around New York. And I came back, we got happy again as much as we could, even though we were still in mourning and still are today, so many years later. What's your view?
Well, and if you remember after 9/11, the solidarity that came out of that with the nation really unifying as a whole, I think is something that most people also remember from that experience. And Dagan's right. You know, the resiliency of Americans and the resiliency of the American economy is going to be on full display here, but we're not out of the pandemic yet. So we still need to continue to keep our nose to the grindstone on those public health efforts that will contain the virus. I think the thing that cannot be emphasized enough is how good things were in February. Before we had government-mandated shutdowns, we had the best employment situation that we'd had in 50 years. We can get back there, but it takes the right public policy response, and Congress needs to get its act together.
Yeah, because there's a cost to the wrong policy, James Freeman.
Yeah, there is, and the cost of these shutdowns, which really cannot be justified on any kind of reasonable cost-benefit analysis, has been enormous. I think people recognize that. Dagan mentioned the terrible price, the cost this imposes on children, not just isolation, but when they are not in school, we are essentially robbing them of their future earnings potential. So this is a massive, essentially generational theft from young people, and I think you're seeing in polls some anger about that. The economy is rebounding, and what we've got to do is encourage those mayors and governors who are still restricting activity in some ways to pull back and allow people to exercise common sense, do the things we always talk about to avoid spreading infection, but allow the economy to run, and I think those numbers will turn around.
You mentioned that you used the phrase, James, generational theft. It is actually a generational theft from women who were forced to stay at home with their kids. Where it could be men, but very often you're seeing a generational setback for advancements in the workplace among mothers across this country. And then the devastating effects on the elderly. I don't think that, I mean, you have people across the country who have not been able to say goodbye to their parents as they've passed away in nursing homes or even in hospitals. I mean, the hardship is real and everlasting.
It sure is. All right, we will keep looking at this, and we'll take a break. When we come back on the hot seat, former Deputy Attorney General